This is Speak Up. I am Sandra Schulte. Welcome back to our show, folks. Today we have Chris Strunk with us for part 7 of our series. Chris Strunk has been doing some research on the Constitution. I'm curious, what part of the Constitution you're focusing on?
Well, first of all, the Constitution is just a piece of paper, and it doesn't do anything on its own. It takes somebody to pick it up and read it and to insist that something be done. The Constitution is a document written by the people in order to form a more perfect union, from the Articles of Confederation being the federal government that is presently in existence. And that government should have, according to the Constitution, limited powers, and that its primary job should be to protect our rights, which are an inalienable set of rights that existed long before the existence of the United States, and that we inherit upon creation those rights from God, and that as recognized in the Declaration of Independence, and that in 1776, in that long battle with King George, who refused to address the various petitions that the founding fathers had been put forward. So that the Constitution being a limit on government with a Calvinist set of rights appended to it, and that my efforts lately come off of our meeting in October of last year, when you had asked me about the Berg suit about Obama, and I at that point had followed it, but I had not actually jumped in and paid attention, and I pulled out the Constitution and looked at the eligibility clause, which deals with, that's Article 2, Section 1, Clause 5, which requires that anybody who is to be president must have eligibility met, that being be 35 years of age, 14 years continuously in residence at the election, and be a natural-born citizen, which is a very specific structure, which has never been reviewed by the Supreme Court, so that anybody's opinion under the sun is what's going on right now. And Obama.
Why are you interested in that?
Well, a natural-born citizen is one without dual allegiances, and that although all of the individuals in the colonies at the formation of the Constitution were grandfathered in, so to speak, even George Washington, whose parents were both citizens of the colonies at the time, wouldn't have been president if, in fact, his father had been a British citizen. It wouldn't have happened. They called him everything, including a monarchist, because of his family roots that go back to the War of the Roses, you know, in 1066. But nonetheless, his parents were both citizens at the time of his birth. So that the allegiance question is very crucial here. And when you have a dual citizenship, you have absolutely dual allegiances.
Well, George Washington was born in the United States, and people who are born here.
No. His mother was born here, and his father was born here.
Yes.
And at his birth,
yes,
they were both citizens of the colonies, notwithstanding the fact that they were all grandfathered in. He was born with his allegiance specifically pinned to the geography in which he was born, so that his father didn't come in from England like Hamilton's father. He was born on a ship in Jamaica, and his father was a British lord, so that he couldn't have been president, because he, although notwithstanding the fact it was all grandfathered in, his allegiance was, in fact, and he married a Rothschild, his allegiance was to England, and to in just the same way as Obama's allegiance is to his father's birth, which is as a citizen of the United Kingdom, and that at birth Obama had a dual citizenship, and by his own admission, therefore, is not eligible to be put into the qualification structure of being president. Now, you hear about birth certificates and everything else. Well, that has to do with a phonied up conspiracy, which he and Eric Holder and others and friends of Goldman Sachs, Corzine in particular, who put him up to be senator in Illinois as a future investment in present financial
That's
structure.
interesting.
Yeah.
Corzine is in New Jersey, isn't he?
Right. Well, he was the president of Goldman Sachs,
Ah.
and he's now up against Christie, who's this Jesuit-connected prior U.S. attorney who's put 131 people in jail in Jersey. But nonetheless, so Article 1 or Article 2, Section 1, and Clause 5 is what I've been focusing on since our meeting on October 17th when you asked me that question about Berg. Berg, in my investigations, worked with Hillary Clinton in order to broker a position in his administration going into the convention in August of last year, and they used this snipe hunt on where's the birth certificate, where's Waldo, where's, as the Malayan monkey trap as a way to get people fixated on where he was born rather than whether he was a dual citizen or not. And this was very well, thoroughly investigated and put in place by Obama, being supposedly a constitutional scholar. If you can find anything he's written, I'd like to see it. He became the head of the Harvard Law Review, not by his writing efforts, but by the color of his skin, and through a lawsuit that was brought out at Harvard. But nonetheless, I became fascinated with that process, and of course, I wasn't going to enter the foray, the fight that Berg was entered, because that's big money, that's a big high-level litigation, which takes a lot of money and effort
That's right.
to do. So what I did was, okay, the simple fact is, as far as the man and where he's born, is that wherever the mother is where the baby is born. And most fathers, is that they're out either at the bowling alley or someplace else getting drunk, and they're not really clear because they were told to stay away. There's nothing as frightening as seeing a birth. And of course, the woman is ready to strangle the guy at the time of the birth. So a lot of men stay away from the actual birth room. So wherever the mother is, though, is where the baby is born. And whether the baby was born in Mombasa, whether he was born in a manger, whether he was born in one of two hospitals of Hawaii, whether he was born in the U.S. embassy someplace, that was what I was curious about. So I did a FOIA with the Department of State asking for the various entry-exit documents for the mother, Stanley Ann Dunham, whose parents at that time were, she was born in Kansas, and she was raised in a progressive household. The progressives and the Fabians essentially believe that the average man is not capable of governing themselves, and therefore they need this elite, which would guide their every waking hour, right? And that very strong in a central government and sort of this nanny state mumbo jumbo, which is the premier program of all progressives. So in any case, her life